Good afternoon. Don Keith with the Diary of a Psychotic video blog. This video blog is brought to you by Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. They're great! Now, I was reminded this morning that the Russian-Ukraine war has been dragging on now for over a year and a half. Which reminds me as well that they have been committing war crimes on both sides. Not really sure how many war crimes have been committed by each side or what they're actually for, but there are warrants for the arrests on both sides from the International War Crimes Tribunal, which is operated out of The Hague. Now, Russia has said they don't recognize their authority. Go figure. That might be because they have kidnapped children. Kidnapped. That's right. Kidnapping is still a crime, internationally and nationally. They deny this, of course, and the fact that they are, well, for want of a better term, brainwashing the youth of Ukraine to hate their own parents and their own country, their own people. That's kind of like, how do you correct that after it's already done? How do you unthink something or unsay something? Well, in my view, you can't. And that's where the crime lies. The crime lies is that you have altered the thinking of a young person, influenced them to the point to where they can't go back and think the other way. Well, at least I hope they can't. At least I hope that they can go back and think the other way, like mom and dad still love me, that sort of thing. And that my country's still 'tis of thee, you know. So, I can't imagine being taken like at 3 or 4 years old, then having to come back a few years later and say, "Oh, everything is forgiven." Do you even know how to forgive after something like that? Well, anyway, that all aside, it's my view that the Ukraine-Russia war is almost over, because well, if you take it the way World War II was fought, the Nazis had already taken over most of Ukraine, right, and then headed into Moscow, or headed towards Stalingrad. And if it hadn't been for the fact that they were stopped, the Nazis were stopped by basically winter, then the Russians would have lost. And I'm thinking the Russians are going to lose here because the world is not supporting them this time. The only thing that Stalin had as a break was that the world was not supporting Hitler. They were actually against Hitler. Well, it was just a lucky break that the Kremlin was fighting against Nazis, which we can't stand anyway. Right-wing fascism is never going to fly. Even if they have airplanes, they're never going to fly. Just look what happened to the Luftwaffe. Well, anyway, Russia's not going to win the war. Okay, you can argue with me until the Eagles fly home. Okay, they've lost already. Can't really say much more about it. Now all we have to do is get the POWs released. All right. They're not going to let them go that easy. I don't want to say that they will if they're negotiated with, but they're going to keep those POWs / hostages as long as they can so they don't have to go to prison or to the noose. All right. That's it for now. Let's give some shout-outs here. My favorite nurse, okay? The Bearded Lady. The Rotten Tomato, Mama Good Tater, the Jump Street Twins, Drunken Pete, may he rest in peace. Okay, here. Rosebud. That's always misspelled. What is up with that? Okay. 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 Everybody over at the Stop and Shop Pharmacy. And everybody over at Union Avenue Shell. All right. So, let's not forget the seasons. the Seasons Shell over on the corner of Elmwood and Post Road. Okay, that's it for now. This is Don Keith and the Diary of a Psychotic video blog, brought to you by Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. They're great.